Uh-oh, you know what that sound means. It's time for the one, the only, the end-of-year Nerdy for 30 awards show, the Rennies, the Ryan Reynolds Awards for Excellence in Film. I am host one for the evening, a.k.a. the Critics' Choice, a.k.a. Kevin Bauer. With me, as always, on this joyous end-of-year occasion, your people's champ, Tim Cack.
A.k.a. host two. Reporting for business.
A.k.a. host two.
A.k.a.
Tim.
If you feel it, chase it. Baby.
Hey, you know I will. Tim, it feels wild that we're here already this year. The year kind of went fast.
The year is flying by, Kevin, as the years do as you age and slowly wither away. The closer we get to death, the faster time moves. Isn't that crazy?
Oh, it sure is. You know, I read that if you stay in the same place that you've been in, the same physical locations, and you don't branch out very much, your brain stops writing new memories, which is part of the reason that it feels like time flies as we get older. So as all of us grow stagnant and refuse to leave our comfort zones, refuse to leave our homes, refuse to leave our rooms or our couches, you're going to need something to watch, which is why we're here to run down some of the best and worst things that we saw this year. Tim, anything you want to cover on these before we dive in?
Wow, that's true. I mean, if you, I guess your advice is that we should all be traveling more, and what better way to travel than with a couple of friends in your ears talking you through the whole way. So here we are, a couple of pals with our pal, you, the listener. And it's been a great year, some highs, some lows, but all in all, a fun one. I think the summer of X-Men is going to have a great impact on my award giving, because it truly was the year of X-Men for us. And I'm excited to get to it, Kevin. This is going to be fun.
Oh, I love it. Now, I do want to ask, because I think I approached this completely differently. Did you classify X-Men movies as valid entries in this award show? Because I thought we were just doing new movies that came out this year.
I did a little bit of both. I dabbled, but it's not a ton. But all right, we'll see. I wanted to mention that up top because they are factored in slightly into my award situation.
I dig it. Let's go for it. Let's start. And as always with the Rennies, we start these bad boys hot with Best Actor. The Best Actor in something that we saw this year. Tim, I'll just go right into it. My nominees are from Kalki, 2898 AD, Probus.
Yes.
From Smile 2, Naomi Scott.
Ooh, great one.
And from Twisters, or The Hitman, Glenn Powell.
We hit on two of them. Glenn Powell, Probus, I think are incredible. I think it's their year for it. I think Glenn Powell deserves the damn thing. Looking back at the other things we watched this year, I know they're not new, but Cillian Murphy, I think we talked about last year in Oppenheimer. I think he's good in it. Michael Fassbender, if we're talking about the X-Men summer, I think he is the straw that stirs the drink as far as those movies go, or at least the new versions of the X-Men. His Magneto is incredible, and I just want to acknowledge it. And then I also have to concede that in La La Land, Emma Stone is, the bee's knees. She's phenomenal. She's beautiful. She's incredible. She's talented. What can she do? She can even make Ryan Gosling look like a human being. So that's his best actor all over it, in my opinion. But you're right. If we're going off of this year, this year, two great movies that we loved a lot, new, I think it's our boy Glenn Powell.
I think it's Glenn Powell. That's an easy one up top. Let's give it to him. Best Actor 2024, Glenn Powell.
Yeah, baby. Congratulations. This is Glenn Powell's first Rennie.
Also, listener, we didn't set this up, but if you haven't caught on by now, Tim and I don't know each other's nominations, which is a fun little twist to this award show that we do. What's extra fun about it is every year so far, we have had at least one category where we nominated the exact same nominees without knowing. Will it happening in this year? We'll see.
It could.
Our next category, we're keeping it hot with Horniest Moment, the absolute horniest thing that we saw in a movie this year. Tim, who are your nominees?
Kevin, my nominees, again from Hitman, the flight attendant scene. That is legit some of the sexiest work I've ever seen on a television screen. That is a hot movie with some hot actors being hot in it, and I'm here for it. It's made it hard to travel for me since then. I've been in a lot of airplanes. I've been asked to leave a lot of airplanes. Just a normal reaction to Glenn Powell getting it on with a hot flight attendant. I think my other two main ones, I want to shout out the Rogue Cut. Because I did not see it. We discussed the Rogue Cut. Apparently it has Mystique and Beast hooking up in it.
Yeah.
And so I feel like that just has to be mentioned as far as horniest moment of the year. It's definitely one of the most gratuitous, horniest things we've discussed this year. I think my other two noms are really going to go to The Boys season 4. The scene where we have our main dude strapped up in the Dom chamber in the rubber outfit. Absolutely insane. Absolutely insane. And then I'm sure you remember Firecracker starts taking specific medications so she can breastfeed Homelander. Very horny, very weird, kind of fucked up. But, you know, not king shaming on here. Not our place to judge. Purely observing, and I'm observing a horny moment.
Tim says this is milk rolls from his lips. I'm kind of surprised. I'm remembering again now how bad of a season Huey had, because I thought you were going to talk about the Changeling and just all of their hooking up with Huey while disguised as Starlight.
Oh, well, that's incredible, too. That is definitely horny. Honestly, boys season 4 was a horny season, man. We could just give it to the boys. But did you have any nominees you wanted to include in this?
Well, my nominees for horniest moment this year were every interaction in Hitman, every single interaction, just across the board. Those two,
that movie's hot sex
chemistry.
on a stick.
White Tea Glenn Powell in Twisters has to get mentioned. That's one of those moments where, you know, you just see it happen and it's like, God damn, this is going straight into the annals of movie history. It's just it's right there, right into the annals. And then the third one that I wanted to nominate, just out of the pure spirit of horniness, was Monica Bellucci being into human Beetlejuice in Beetlejuice. The fact, if you've seen this, that we find out that when Beetlejuice was a human, this is not that spoilery. We find out that when Beetlejuice was a human, Monica Bellucci seduced him. He is a disgusting grave robber.
Yeah.
She is Monica Bellucci. She is so horned up for this random guy. I mean, it takes an incredibly impressive amount of libido for that version of Beetlejuice, or any version of Beetlejuice, to do it for you. So those are my nominees.
But she's trying to seduce him and take his money, right?
But she also, why
does she think he has money?
That
was another thing.
Yeah, I don't think
she needs him for like a spell or something.
She needed him for a sacrifice, but she could have sacrificed a hot man.
That's true. She could have sacrificed an uglier man, but that guy's weird. Beetlejuice as a person, and it goes back to my theory of I don't need everything explained to me. Beetlejuice, I get it. It's fun. Do I need to see Beetlejuice as a living human? No, thank you. Not interested. But Mrs. Belushi, she brought it. She brought it to the stage and the screen.
She did. So what did we do here? Our only overlap was Glenn Powell. The only overlap was Hitman in this one.
I think Hitman could definitely be it. I think we could just nominate his character in Twisters as well, because
just Tyler Owens,
because Tyler Owens is, he's phenomenal. Men want to be him. Women want to be with him. What are you thinking? Hitman? Any specific moments stand out to you, Kev?
I mean, yeah, the flight attendant stuff in Hitman, but I do want to remove some points for kind of the weirdness of hooking up with the dead body in the room at the end. Twisters, on the other hand, Tyler Owens. I mean, that truck is not a rockin', because he's got a trigger on that thing that fires an auger down into the ground to drill, baby, drill. And if that's not phallic, I don't know what is. I'm comfortable giving it to Glenn Powell and Twisters. What do you think?
Let's do it. Tyler Owens, congratulations. Horniest moment goes to you.
This is Glenn Powell's second Rennies win.
His second nom and second win.
Incredible record so far.
Incredible. It's batting 100.
Oh, boy.
This is nice.
This is nice. Speaking of batting 100, Tim, we're going right into another great category. That's one of the things we offer here on the Rennies is only good categories. There's no fluff. So this next category up is Best fight scene. The movie itself doesn't have to be the best action movie. This just has to be the best fight scene that took place in a movie this year. I've got an honorable mention to start it off. The stun gun fight scene from Red 1.
Huh. Okay. Yeah, that's actually really good. That was a good one. I think we were both like, oh, that was a great scene. A shocking scene that it even made sense in this movie because it was surprisingly well choreographed. No, you're right. 100%. That deserves to be acknowledged in this.
Yeah. Don't want to give it the win, but I do want to acknowledge it. My actual nominees are the nightclub fight scene in Monkey Man.
Ooh,
Deadpool using Wolverine's skeleton to kill TVA agents in Deadpool and Wolverine.
Wonderful.
And King Kong picking up Little Kong and using him as a weapon in Godzilla X Kong New Empire.
Oh my God. Yes. Those are incredible. Those are all incredible. Your list blows my list out of the water, Kevin.
What do you got, Tim?
I think the Baby Kong fight, like beating him. I mean, it's a very quick fight. I don't know if it is like a complete fight scene, but it's amazing. It was so cool watching him use Baby Kong to beat another Kong. Wild. All good stuff. I mean, this is where I ended up incorporating some older movies that did not come out this year, because I think Fury Road, as far as action sequences, needs to be included. Whether or not it's a fight scene, I think the main one where they're racing and getting attacked by everybody is incredible and one of the best action scenes ever. I guess maybe it's not a fight scene, but it just stood out to me as like one of the best action pieces of the year. Another old one, Days of Future Past, the opening scene where the Sentinels murder all of the X-Men. Incredible. So cool. So fun. I think the choreography is great. And it's just wild to see all of these guys die. It's a crazy way to open the movie. And I love it. And I'm here for it. And then, of course, I think we could pick a bunch of scenes from Deadpool and Wolverine. I was thinking the scene where they fight the clones, the Deadpool clones. At the end, where they both walk out, we see the mask, and then they do this fight where it's like a kind of a single shot of the two of them jumping up, fighting different places, fighting different people. You can just I've rewound that scene a bunch and just watched what each of them is doing at different points. There's just so much eye candy going on in there. And I love it. I respect the hell out of it. I think it's great. So what are you thinking for this, Kevin? We both nominated a Deadpool and Wolverine scene. I like the Baby Kong thing, though. That's great. And Monkey Man was really good.
I think that's really notable. That scene, the choreography in it is unbelievable. It's a scene that delivers. It's the scene right after Wolverine puts his mask on. Yes. I think it's that fight scene in Deadpool and Wolverine.
I think so, too. Honestly, we should have nominated them for Sexiest Moment. You know, either Hugh Jackman putting on the mask or taking off his shirt. Either one, I think, would have worked for Horniest Moment.
Yeah. I mean, people were into it, but still, I don't think it would have taken Glenn Powell.
These people were into it. Deadpool and Wolverine find the Deadpool clones. Best fight scene.
You've won. Congratulations.
Congratulations. Yeah. Incredible. The first of many noms for Deadpool and Wolverine, I'm sure.
Oh, first of many. Next one up. This is a fan favorite every year. This is a Tim Keck original. It's best trailer, worst movie. Do you want to tell the people what they're in for here?
Yes. So best trailer, worst movie is a combination of elements where pretty much the hype for the movie ends up being completely underwhelming when you actually see it. You watch the trailer and the trailer's amazing. You're like, I got to see this movie. And then you see the movie and you're like, actually, the trailer was way, way better than this movie. This movie sucks. So it can be a contrast. It's the contrast between the two. So it could be an okay movie with an amazing trailer, or it could be an okay trailer with a terrible movie. Ideally, it's an amazing trailer with a terrible movie that, you know, creates the biggest gap. So should I go ahead and just list my noms, Kev? I've got a few for this.
What do you got?
We can talk over. Kind of working my way up the ladder here. I wanted to acknowledge Abigail because I think it's an okay movie and it's an okay trailer, but the trailer really gives away so much of the movie. I was on YouTube. I watched the part 1 again. I watched part 2 again. they reveal a lot of information about Abigail. You know exactly what everything is coming in. If you watch the movie cold, it's a wild premise that would probably blow your mind. And then the second trailer is like the whole scene with her in the cage and breaking out of the cage. And so much of it is just given away. And that's like a big pivotal thing at the end. So it needs to be acknowledged and probably reprimanded for, I think, a trailer doing the one thing that is a true indictment of trailers, which is spoiling too much of the movie. I hate it. Had to acknowledge that. Kevin, Night Swim.
Yeah.
Underwhelming movie. Kind of a fun trailer. They had the Billie Eilish song. They're playing Marco Polo.
Yeah.
Marco Polo is like screaming out and echoing. It's a fun trailer. That fun did not carry into the movie. Kevin, Borderlands. The trailer looked like it could have been fun. It was like maybe a Guardians of the Galaxy thing. Maybe it'll be goofy. Maybe it'll be nice. That movie sucks. It sucks so hard. Now, was the trailer like, oh, this is going to be an amazing movie? No, but I thought it was going to be a watchable movie, and that ended up not being the case. So, Borderlands. Okay.
Oh,
here's my top three, Kevin. I
completely forgot about that. Yeah, hit me.
My top three noms. I don't know if you're going to agree with these, but Furiosa, pretty awesome trailer. I was pumped for Furiosa, and I absolutely hated Furiosa. I think I'm maybe out on a limb here. Maybe I'm standing alone. But Furiosa, I really, truly hate it as a movie. I hate the fact that it exists. The trailer made it look like it was going to be a ton of action. It really wasn't. And they also cut around a lot of the bad CGI that I think is bogging this thing down. There's fake CGI fire that looks pretty terrible, but they're still using like real cars and real special effects in the trailer. And it looks fun. It looks exciting. It looks like it's not going to be as good as the first one, obviously, but it looks like it's going to be pretty good. My second nom is New Mutants. That trailer is pretty awesome. This is an old movie. The movie is not great. There's something about the movie that I still find pretty rewatchable. I like it. There's elements there that are good, but the trailer makes it look like it's a horror movie and that it's going to be tight and that everyone's being haunted by their different versions of their past. And there's going to be an epic fight with all their powers and stuff. It's very spooky, very haunting. It's just like a great, and they also have The Wall song playing with a Pink Floyd song with like a choir of haunted children. So cool, so spooky, so good. And then really the movie has none of those elements in it. So that's a disappointment. And then my final nom, Kevin, Rebel Moon, being some of the worst trash we've watched all year, maybe in the history of the pod. The first one I was too nice to. The second one was hot garbage. But the trailer is kind of exciting. The trailer's kind of fun. At worst, you're like, this will be a fun Zack Snyder movie. Anthony Hopkins is doing voiceover in this thing. It's just got all the elements. It's got all the fun pieces mixed together where you're like, this could be a 300. This could be a Justice League. And then it is some of the most generic bullshit I've ever seen in my life. So that's my list. I think I've got Rebel Moon at the top of it. Any comments, concerns, anything you want to nom on that or elaborate on?
Yeah, so we almost had the same nominees here because I do have some overlap with you.
I listed
First
like
of all,
6
Night
of them,
Swim.
so probably some good overlap.
Easy. It's a little bit of it would have been an asterisk if this did hit. The first one that I had on my list is Night Swim. This is, every year now, every January is marred by a PG-13 horror movie that should have been an R. Same deal with Megan, dude. Megan, I mean, look, I don't want to put Megan and Night Swim in the same class. Megan is so much better than Night Swim, but both of those movies could have actually ruled if they were ours. Outside of that one incredible line in Night Swim where Wyatt Russell says we have a pool, there's not really anything to be there for. My second nominee was Rebel Moon. Just because, again, like the Rebel Moon movies are so unbelievably bad, but based on the first trailer, I was like, I'll hear them out. The idea that Zack Snyder had pitched this to Star Wars and he was going to do his own take on Star Wars. I'm not a big Zack Snyder guy, but I do think he has some interesting ideas sometimes. And this looked like maybe this was going to be one of those cool takes. Oh my God, I can't believe how bad what we got is compared to what we were shown. And so the third one I wanted to nominate here was actually Monkey Man. Now, this is an example of a situation where the movie isn't bad. The movie's okay. The trailer looked like it was going to be the next John Wick franchise. And
yes,
I mean, Dev Patel did an incredible job with this thing. I think ultimately both of us found it a little bit too artsy. And obviously, as our critique always is, a little bit too long. Could have made some cuts and this would have been a lot punchier. There's some really cool shit in Monkey Man, but that first trailer had my jaw on the fucking floor. Incredible trailer. Okay, movie. Gotta say, though, having listed all those.
Monkey Man is a great one.
Thank you, man. Gotta say, though, having listed all those and listened to all of yours, I think we gotta give this to Borderlands, because Borderlands might be the worst thing that we watched on the pod this year.
It might be. It might be. Rebel Moon 2, I think, is still the standard bearer for like the worst thing I saw this year. But Borderlands is pretty terrible. Pretty terrible, yeah. Borderlands.
The trailer for Borderlands looked better than the trailer for Rebel Moon, though.
It definitely does. Yeah. Borderlands made it look like it was going to be like a fun, maybe like this might be a hit. Could be fun. Yeah. Get a bunch of people out to
Good
it.
Cast.
I'm very comfortable with nominating with Borderlands winning this thing.
Yeah,
I think that makes sense.
Best trailer, worst movie 2024. It's Borderlands.
Borderlands, congratulations. Wow. Your movie sucked. The trailer was okay.
Pretty good. Oh boy, Tim, it's getting to be about that time. And sometimes you just crave a meal that really hits the spot, right? I'm talking about the kind of food that makes you stop, take a bite and go, wow, this is what I've been waiting for all day.
Oh, I know exactly what you mean. And for me, that can only mean one thing, Kevin. Arby's. And I'm talking about those perfectly stacked sandwiches, smoky, tender meats, and flavors that are totally next level.
Absolutely. Arby's isn't just about the classics like the iconic beef and cheddar. Though let's be real, that is a masterpiece. They've got something for every craving, like the smoked brisket, chicken sandwiches. Don't even get me started on the loaded curly fries.
Oh yeah, those curly fries are a game changer. Crispy, seasoned, and impossible to stop eating. And I'm all in on their new limited time menu items. Arby's is always shaking things up with fresh flavors that make you want to try everything on the menu.
Totally. So if you're hungry for a meal that's anything but boring, you gotta hit up Arby's. Whether you're all about that juicy, slow roasted meat or just in the mood for something quick but unforgettable, Arby's has you covered.
Arby's, we have the meats and a whole lot of flavor. Grab yours today.
That message, of course, brought to you by Arby's, as is the final award for this first half of the Rennies, the biggest beef award, sponsored by Arby's. This is the biggest problem that we had with one of the movies on the pod this year. Tim, what are your noms?
Kevin, I think my noms... Rebel Moon 2, Part 2, I hated it. I hated everything about it. It was such a devastating blow after I went hard for the first one. I was really arguing pro the first one. It's going through the motions. I'm like, they'll figure it out in Part 2. And Part 2 made me embarrassed. I was ashamed of myself. I hated myself for opening up and becoming so vulnerable.
I was ashamed of you too.
One of my biggest beefs is definitely Rebel Moon Part 2. It was offensive on every level, and it felt like a personal attack on me. And I hate them for that. Again, I might be alone on this. Andor being a prequel to a prequel.
Oh, no. No.
Kind of wild. Kind of wild. Don't like it. Not into it. Not my favorite thing.
Come on.
It's a prequel to a prequel. Like, why is this being made? We don't need it. I reject the premise entirely. It's also like Furiosa. It's like, we don't need Furiosa. That's another prequel. Maybe it's just prequels. I don't need any more prequels, Kevin. We got 2 this year, or we covered 2 this year. I don't need any more. Even the X-Men ones, they went back in time. That's cool. I don't need any more prequels, Kevin. I'm done with it. I think my biggest beef, though, well... Okay, I have another one, which is Saturday Night Live.
Oh,
the concept and the show, Saturday Night. My biggest beef with that is pretty much that I don't is glorifying Lorne Michaels, and also just the idea that I never knew what time the show started.
Oh my God.
And the whole time I was like building up I'm like, oh my God, it's about to start. And then they're outside ice skating. And it's like, oh no, you still have so much time. Like they made it feel like the show was going to start like right now. And then they just went and did something else. And it was like, okay, so now isn't when the show starts. What are we doing? And then it's like, oh no, now we got to scramble it. And then it's like, nope, we got some more time. We're going to go ice skating and just kind of hang out a little bit and just talk and look at some blood. And Saturday night, not a fave. I think my biggest beef though, Kevin, going back to Borderlands, the stuff with the keys at the end.
Oh,
I don't understand what happened there. It doesn't make any sense. She's got extra keys. They need 3 keys, but then she's the 3rd key, but then they show up with only 1 key. And then there's 2 physical keys, but they don't combine or anything, but they only use 1 at the end. And then she's there. So there's like, it's a quest for keys and they only use 2 to open the gate at the end. I don't get it. I don't understand it. I feel like I'm missing something crazy, but it's like it just seems like a blatant mistake on their part. I don't know. It doesn't make any sense to me. So those are my biggest beefs, Kevin.
Dude, there's third act problems and then there's Borderlands. I mean, it feels like they just had to ship the movie. They knew that it wasn't done. They just had to ship it. They didn't have
We have to get it out of here
to have the writer come back to the set. My nominees for this one. Number 1, Chris Evans' dad is not important to the plot in Red One. This drove me fucking insane. Maybe it's world building. If it is world building, don't put this much focus on it. Say it in the background. They said it like it was going to be the entire focus of the movie is him figuring out who his dad is. It's never touched again. It's unbelievable. It is the most glaring leftover from a previous draft thing that we've ever seen on this entire pod. It blows my fucking mind and drove me nuts. The fact that there isn't a post credit, I'm still so mad about that. So that's my number 1. Number 2, Justin Theroux and Monica Bellucci are not important to the plot. Beetlejuice. What are we fucking doing? What are we doing? This movie, if you shave them out of there, it's so much more fun. It's tighter. This was kind of a good movie that just had way too much extra shit going on. They're the extra shit. They acknowledge they're the extra shit because they just carve them out at the end. So
Monica Bellucci especially.
So much buildup. She's
completely
so cool.
Neutralized. Theroux at least is like mixing it up with the main cast and being funny and causing problems for, Olivia or whatever her name is, Lydia. So I kind of get him being there, but man, Belushi is just, and then they just wipe them both off in the same thing.
Yeah.
they couldn't even come up with 2 different deaths for him. That's great. That's a good one, Kev.
It's like if Thanos had been killed off screen at the beginning of Infinity War. It's like, this is insane. We've been building this up for so long.
Or like when they defeated Thanos, they also defeated the Joker.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, well, what's the point of this?
Why is he here? He shouldn't even be here?
Are we building this up? Was this supposed to be something?
And then my third nominee, in the same vein as your Rebel Moon 2 take, Venom 3, whole thing. Just whole thing. Tip to tail.
Okay. Top to tail. Venom 3 was not good. I enjoyed some of the fighting at the end. I liked seeing all the different symbiotes. But I've kind of been out on all of Venom. So Venom 3 didn't rub me as particularly egregious just because I was conditioned to be disappointed with that. You can't watch Let There Be Carnage and then go into this movie and think we're getting a masterpiece.
No.
Right.
Yeah. That's managing expectations 101. I think your note about the keys at the end of Borderlands it still perplexes me. It's one that I'd driven out of my mind and then you brought it back up and now it's all I can think about.
Borderlands is a terrible movie. And the keys thing, it doesn't make any sense to me. Maybe I got to Google it or something and just see what was going on with the keys. Are we missing something? Because there's definitely, because it's a wishbone. There's like a wishbone and the 2 points of the wishbone create the door. And then they put the key into the top of the wishbone. And then the girl stands, then Kate Blanchett's character stands on the wishbone.
Yeah.
On the other 2 ends. And then the door opens. So it's like that's all 3 There's three. There's two more. There's another key that they're just not. I don't get it. I don't understand it, Kevin. I'd be fine with giving it the biggest beef award. It seems egregious for like the culmination of an entire movie to end with missing a key. They don't have all the keys, or they have too many keys, Kevin. They have a too many keys problem.
You know, I don't even know what to say. I hate it. It's so bad. Let's give it to it. Biggest beef, sponsored by Arby's, goes to Borderlands for too many keys.
Too many keys. They did it. They messed up.
They messed up big time. But you didn't mess up, listener, by listening to this podcast, because we had a great time with you. And we'd love to have a great time with you again tomorrow on the second half of the Rennies.
Yes. Part 2. Going big. Or going home.
Going big, going home.
Yeah. And of course, the main showstopper, Biggest Thief, aka the Ryan Reynolds Awards for Excellence in Film. We're going to see who wins the whole kit and caboodle. Kevin, I'm excited to see.
Oh, I'm excited. I hope you are too. We'll see you back here again tomorrow. Until then, stay nerdy, everybody. Bye.
Stay nerdy. Bye.